Raymond Albert came home unannounced. Nobody knew he was back. The house was silent like it had been for 18 months. But then he heard something. Sounds coming from somewhere inside. His heart started racing. He didn't know what it was. He moved toward it following the noise, his hands trembling. It was coming from the kitchen. He pushed open the door and what he saw stopped his heart. Raymond Albert was a billionaire. Chicago real estate, self-made. He turned empty buildings into luxury towers worth hundreds of millions. Everything he touched turned to gold. But money couldn't bring back what he'd lost. His wife, Janet, died in a car accident. Gold Coast neighborhood. Drunk driver ran a red light. She was gone instantly. Raymond was in London closing a $200 million deal when he got the call. At her funeral, something broke inside his 3 daughters. Stephine, Edith, and Michelle, 4 years old, identical triplets, honey blonde curls, green eyes. They stopped talking, all 3. At the same time. Stephine used to recite nursery rhymes. Edith asked why about everything. Michelle sang made-up songs in the bathtub. Now, nothing. Silence. 18 months of complete silence. No words, no laughter, no crying out loud. Just 3 little girls holding each other's hands, staring at nothing like ghosts. Raymond spent millions trying to fix it. Child psychologists from the best hospitals, specialists from Boston, therapy after therapy. He took them to Disney World, to the beach, to Colorado. He bought them puppies, built them a treehouse. Nothing worked. The girls stayed locked inside themselves, silent together, like they'd made a pact with grief. So Raymond did what broken men do. He ran. He buried himself in work, 16-hour days, business trips every other week, Tokyo, London, Paris. Because sitting in that house felt like suffocating. His estate in Lake Forest had 12 bedrooms, an infinity pool, a tennis court, a home theater, but it was the loneliest place on earth. One evening, Martha, the head housekeeper, who'd been with the family for 20 years, approached him. "Mr. Albert, I can't manage this alone anymore. The house is too big. The girls need more help than I can give. Can I hire someone?" Raymond barely looked up. "Hire whoever you need, Martha." 3 days later, Morin Hart walked through the door. 30 years old, from the South Side, studying early childhood education at night while raising her teenage nephew. Her sister had died 2 years earlier. She understood grief. She knew what it felt like to keep breathing when your heart was broken. Raymond saw Morin once in the hallway. She was carrying cleaning supplies. She nodded. He didn't even look at her. But his daughters noticed. Morin didn't try to fix them. She didn't force them to talk or smile. She just showed up every single day, folding laundry, humming old hymns while she worked, cleaning their rooms, being present. And slowly the girls started coming closer. In the first week, Stephine watched from the doorway while Morin made the beds, then Edith, then Michelle. In the second week, Morin hummed softly while organizing toys. Michelle crept closer, just listening. In the third week, Stephine left a crayon drawing on the clean laundry, a yellow butterfly. Morin picked it up like it was precious. She smiled and taped it to the wall. "This is beautiful, sweetheart," she whispered. And Stephane's eyes flickered, just a little. Week after week, something was happening. Something quiet, something sacred, something Raymond never saw because he was never home. The girls started whispering to Morin, then talking in sentences, then laughing while she folded towels. By 6 weeks, they were singing again. Morin didn't announce it. She just loved them gently, patiently, like watering a garden and trusting God to bring the growth. Raymond had no idea his daughters were coming back to life. He was in Tokyo closing a massive deal. Exhausted, stressed. He wasn't supposed to come home for 3 more days. But something inside him said go. He didn't call ahead. He just booked a flight and left. When he walked through the front door, the house was quiet. Like always. He expected nothing different. But then he heard something. Sounds. His chest tightened. He stood frozen in the entryway listening. It couldn't be. The house had been silent for 18 months, but the sounds were real. Laughter. Children's laughter. Raymond's hands started shaking. His heart pounded. He didn't understand. He moved toward the sound down the hallway faster. His breath caught in his throat. It was coming from the kitchen. He reached the door. His hand trembled as he pushed it open. And what he saw inside stopped his entire world. Sunlight poured through the kitchen windows, bright, warm, the kind of light that makes everything feel alive. Michelle was sitting on Morin's shoulders, her little hands tangled in the woman's hair, giggling uncontrollably. Stephine and Edith sat barefoot on the counter by the sink, legs swinging, faces glowing. They were singing, actually singing, "You Are My Sunshine." Their voices filled the room like music Raymond had forgotten existed. Morin was folding small, bright dresses, humming along with them, smiling like this was the most natural thing in the world. The girls were wearing matching magenta outfits. Their hair was brushed, their cheeks were flushed with joy. They looked alive. Raymond stood frozen in the doorway. His briefcase had fallen from his hand somewhere behind him. He couldn't move, couldn't breathe. His daughters talking, laughing, singing. For 3 seconds, something broke open inside him. Relief so powerful it felt like his chest might cave in. Gratitude, joy, a feeling he hadn't felt since Janet died. Like maybe, just maybe, God hadn't forgotten them. Then Michelle shouted, louder, "Miss Morin, sing louder." And something shifted. Raymond didn't understand it. He couldn't name it, but it rose up fast and hot and ugly. Jealousy, shame, rage. This woman, this stranger, had done what he couldn't. She'd brought his daughters back from the dead. While he was closing deals and flying across the world, she was here loving them, healing them, being the parent he should have been. And he hated her for it. What the hell is going on here? His voice exploded across the kitchen like a gunshot. The singing stopped. Instantly. Michelle's face crumpled. Morin stumbled, her hands shaking as she carefully lifted Michelle off her shoulders and set her down. Stephine and Edith froze on the counter, their legs stopping mid-swing. "Mr. Albert, Morin's voice was quiet, steady, but Raymond could see her trembling. "This is completely inappropriate," Raymond's voice cracked. "You were hired to clean, not to play dress-up and turn my kitchen into some kind of daycare circus." Morin lowered her eyes. "I was just spending time with them, sir." "They were." "I don't want to hear it." Raymond's face was red, his fists clenched at his sides. "Putting my daughters on counters, carrying them around like that. What if one of them fell? What if something happened?" "Nothing happened, sir. I was being careful." "You're fired." The word came out cold. Final. "Pack your things. Leave now." Morin stood there for a moment, her hands gripping the edge of the counter. Her eyes were wet, but she didn't argue. She didn't beg. She just nodded. "Yes, sir." She walked past Raymond with her head high, shoulders straight, tears slipping quietly down her cheeks. The girls didn't make a sound. They climbed down from the counter slowly, carefully, holding each other's hands. Their faces were blank, empty, like someone had reached inside and turned off a switch. They looked at their father, really looked at him, and Raymond saw it. Fear. They were afraid of him. Stephane's lip trembled, but no sound came out. Edith gripped her sister's hands tighter. Michelle's eyes filled with tears that fell silently down her face. Then they turned and walked out of the kitchen together, hand in hand, their bare feet padding softly against the floor. The room fell silent. Raymond stood there alone. The bright dresses Morin had been folding were still on the counter. The sunlight that had felt so warm moments ago now felt harsh, accusing. His legs felt weak. He grabbed the edge of the counter to steady himself. What did I just do? His voice was barely a whisper. The house was silent again, the way it had been for 18 months. Cold, dead, empty. Raymond sank into a chair, his head falling into his hands. And for the first time since Janet's funeral, he felt the full weight of what he'd become. Not a father. A destroyer. That night, Raymond sat alone in his study. The room was dark except for the lamp on his desk. A glass of scotch sat untouched in his hand. He stared at the photo on the shelf. Janet laughing, holding the girls when they were babies. All three of them wrapped in her arms. Her smile so bright it hurt to look at. What have I done, Janet? His voice cracked. Why did I do that? The silence pressed in from every corner of the house, heavy, suffocating. There was a soft knock at the door. Mr. Albert. Martha's voice, gentle but firm. May I come in? Yeah. She entered slowly, closing the door behind her. She didn't bring tea this time, didn't sit down, just stood there, arms crossed, looking at him the way a mother looks at a child who's done something terribly wrong. They were talking, Mr. Albert. Raymond looked up. What? Your daughters. They were talking to Morin. His chest tightened. I know that, Martha. I saw them today. No. Martha shook her head. You don't understand. It wasn't just today. They've been talking for 6 weeks. The glass slipped from Raymond's hand. It didn't break, just tipped over on the desk. Scotch spilling across the wood. He didn't move to clean it. 6 weeks. Yes, sir. Full sentences, stories, songs. Morin brought them back little by little, every single day. Raymond's hand started shaking. 6 weeks. How? Why didn't anyone tell me? Martha's voice was soft, but it cut deep. You were never here to tell, Mr. Albert. He covered his face with his hands. Oh, God. Oh, God, Martha, I destroyed it. I destroyed everything in 10 seconds. Yes, sir. You did. The words hung in the air between them. No comfort, just truth. Raymond's voice came out broken. What kind of father am I? My daughters were healing. Actually healing. And I had no idea. I've been so busy running from this house that I didn't even notice they were coming back to life. Martha stepped closer. Her voice was quieter now. Mr. Albert, do you understand what you did today? Those girls trusted Morin. They opened up to her. And you showed them that when you're scared or confused, you hurt the people they love. Raymond looked up, his eyes red. I wasn't thinking. I saw them so happy with her and I felt like I didn't matter anymore. Like I'd been replaced. So you destroyed it? Yes. His voice barely a whisper. I destroyed it. Martha uncrossed her arms. What are you going to do now? I need to apologize to Morin. To the girls. I need to fix this. Apologizing is a start, but those girls don't need your words, Mr. Albert. They need you. Actually you. Not the man who works 80 hours a week and throws money at problems. They need their father. Raymond nodded slowly. I'll talk to Morin first thing in the morning. I'll ask her to come back. I'll make this right. Martha studied him for a long moment. Then she turned toward the door. I hope so, sir. For their sake. She left him sitting there in the dark. Raymond stared at Janet's photo again. The girls' faces, so small, so innocent. He'd failed them. Failed Janet. Failed himself. But maybe, just maybe, it wasn't too late to try again. The next morning, Raymond had Morin called to his office. She entered quietly, her head down, hands clasped in front of her. She wore the same uniform, the same dignity, but something in her eyes had changed. "Sit down, Morin." She sat on the edge of the chair, back straight, waiting. Raymond cleared his throat. "Morin, I want to apologize. What I said yesterday, how I spoke to you, was completely out of line. I didn't know the girls had started talking again. Martha told me last night. I was wrong." Morin said nothing. "You weren't being inappropriate. You were caring for them in a way his voice faltered. In a way I couldn't. And I'm truly sorry." She looked up then. Her eyes were calm, clear. "May I speak freely, Mr. Albert?" "Of course. You didn't just fire me yesterday. You humiliated me. In front of 3 little girls who trusted me. You showed them that people like me don't matter. That when you're confused or scared, you hurt people." Raymond winced. Morin stood. "I know my place, sir. I'm the housekeeper. I clean. I fold laundry. But those girls, they became my heart. And you broke that in front of them. Morin, please. I'm not coming back, Mr. Albert. Not because you're firing me. Because I can't stay in a place where love gets punished." She walked to the door. Raymond stood. "Please. My daughters need you." Morin turned, her hand on the doorknob. "Your daughters need their father, Mr. Albert. Maybe start there." And then she was gone. Martha found Raymond still sitting at his desk an hour later. "She's not coming back, is she?" he said without looking up. "No, sir. She's not." Raymond slammed his fist on the desk. "I know, Martha. I know I ruined everything." Martha crossed her arms. "Then go after her." "How?" "The same way you chase your business deals. With humility and speed." Raymond looked at her, really looked at her. Then he stood. "Where does she live?" Martha hesitated. "Mr. Albert, please." "Martha, I need to try." She sighed. "South Side. I'll get you the address." Raymond drove into the city that afternoon. The address led him to a modest apartment building on a narrow street. Cracked sidewalk, faded paint, a world away from Lake Forest. He climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor and knocked. A teenage boy opened the door, tall, guarded eyes. He looked Raymond up and down, the expensive suit, the polished shoes, and his jaw tightened. "Yeah. I'm looking for Morin Hart. Does she live here?" The boy's expression hardened. "Who's asking?" "My name is Raymond Albert. I was her employer. I need to speak with her." "You're the guy who fired her." Raymond's throat tightened. "Yes. I made a mistake. I need to apologize." The boy stepped forward, blocking the doorway. "You made her cry, man. You embarrassed her in front of little kids. And now you show up here thinking you can just fix it. I know I hurt her. That's why I'm here. Please. 5 minutes. She doesn't want to see you. Please." The door closed. Raymond stood there staring at the peeling paint, his hands clenched into fists, then released. He'd never been rejected like this. Never had a door shut in his face. In his world, money opened everything. Here, it meant nothing. He tried again the next day. Martha had given him another address, Morin's sister's place on the west side. Another modest building, another neighborhood where his suit made him stand out like he didn't belong. He knocked. A woman in her 40s opened the door, a baby on her hip. She looked exhausted. "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for Morin Hart. I was told she might be staying here." The woman's face shifted. Recognition, then something colder. "You're the rich guy who yelled at her." Raymond lowered his head. "Yes. I need to talk to her. To apologize." "She doesn't want to talk to you." "Please. Just let me explain." "Morin," the woman called over her shoulder. "There's someone here for you." Footsteps. Then Morin appeared in the doorway behind her sister. When she saw Raymond, her face went still. "What do you want, Mr. Albert?" "To talk. Please." "There's nothing to talk about. Morin, I know what I did was wrong. I know I hurt you. But my daughters, they haven't spoken since you left. They're back in that silence. I destroyed the only good thing that's happened to them since their mother died." Morin's jaw tightened. "That's not my responsibility." "I know. I know it's not. But I'm not here as your boss. I'm here as a father who failed his children. And I'm begging for help." Morin looked away, her eyes wet. Raymond reached into his jacket and pulled out a small cardboard box. His hands trembled as he held it out. "The girls made this. Martha found it hidden in their playroom." Morin hesitated. Then she took it. She opened it slowly. Inside were 3 drawings, each one labeled in shaky handwriting. "Miss Morin, a yellow butterfly, a rainbow, a heart with stick figures holding hands." And beneath them, a folded piece of paper. Morin unfolded it. The words were written in crayon, big and uneven. "Please come back. We love you." Morin's hand went to her mouth. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "They drew these for you," Raymond said quietly. "Every night before bed. Martha found them under Stephane's pillow." Morin clutched the box to her chest, her shoulders shaking. Raymond's voice broke. "I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to save them. Because I can't." Morin stood there holding the box, tears streaming down her face. She didn't wipe them away. Just stood there staring at the drawings like they were breaking her heart all over again. Raymond waited. He didn't push. Didn't speak. For the first time in years, he just waited. Finally, Morin looked up. Her voice came out thick with emotion. "Mr. Albert, Raymond, what you did hurt. Not just me. Them. I know. You made them feel like loving me was wrong. Like being happy was something to be ashamed of." Raymond's throat tightened. "I was angry at myself, not you. I saw them alive again, and I realized," his voice broke. "I realized a stranger had done what their own father couldn't. And instead of being grateful, I destroyed it." Morin wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "Do you understand what it took for those girls to trust me? To open up? They'd been silent for 18 months. And in one moment, you taught them that people leave. That love isn't safe. I'll spend the rest of my life making that right. I swear to you." She looked down at the drawings again. Stephane's butterfly, Edith's rainbow, Michelle's stick figures holding hands. Her sister stepped closer, the baby still on her hip. "Morin, you don't owe him anything." "I know." Morin's voice was barely a whisper. "But I owe them." She looked back at Raymond. "If I come back, and I mean if, things change completely. Anything. Name it. You can't keep working 80-hour weeks. You can't keep flying across the world every other week while your daughters grow up without you. If I'm going to help them heal, you have to be part of it. Really part of it." Raymond nodded. "I'll restructure everything. Work from home. Cut back on travel. I'm not talking about cutting back, Mr. Albert. Morin's eyes were steady now. Firm. I'm talking about showing up. Being there for breakfast, for bedtime, for the hard days when they cry and don't know why. You can't fix this from a distance. I understand. Do you? She stepped closer. Because I won't come back just to watch you break their hearts again. I won't be the one picking up the pieces while you're in Tokyo closing deals. Raymond felt the weight of what she was asking. His entire life, everything he'd built, everything he'd become, it all revolved around work, around success, around control. And she was asking him to let it go. I don't know if I know how to do that, he admitted quietly. I don't know how to just stop. Morin's expression softened, just a little. Then you learn the same way those girls are learning to trust again. One day at a time. Silence settled between them. Raymond looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who had nothing compared to his wealth, who'd lost her sister, who was raising a nephew while working and studying, who'd loved his daughters without asking for anything in return. And he realized something. She was stronger than he'd ever been. If you come back, he said slowly, I'll be there. I promise you. Whatever it takes. Morin studied his face for a long moment, searching for something. Truth maybe, or sincerity. Finally, she nodded. 1 week. Give me 1 week to think about it. Morin. 1 week, Mr. Albert. That's all I'm asking. If you really mean what you're saying, you can wait 7 days. She handed him back the box. Keep this. Show it to the girls. Tell them I saw it. Tell them, her voice caught. Tell them I miss them too. Then she stepped back inside and the door closed softly. Raymond stood there in the hallway holding the box of drawings, feeling something he hadn't felt in years. Hope. And terror. Raymond drove back to Lake Forest in silence. The box sat on the passenger seat. He kept glancing at it, 3 drawings, 3 declarations of love from children who'd learned to speak again, then learned to go silent because of him. When he pulled into the driveway, the house loomed in front of him. 12 bedrooms, all that space, all that emptiness. He sat in the car for a long time before going inside. Martha met him at the door. She didn't ask how it went. She just looked at the box in his hands and nodded. They're in the playroom, she said quietly. Raymond climbed the stairs slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last. When he reached the playroom door, he stopped. Through the crack, he could see them. Stephine, Edith, and Michelle sitting on the floor in a small circle, holding hands. They weren't playing, weren't drawing, just sitting there, staring at nothing like they had for 18 months before Morin came. Raymond pushed the door open gently. All 3 girls looked up. Their faces didn't change. No smiles, no fear, just blank. Hey, girls. His voice came out softer than he intended. They didn't respond. Raymond stepped inside and sat down on the floor across from them. Not too close. He didn't want to scare them. I went to see Miss Morin today. Stephane's eyes flickered. Just slightly. Raymond held up the box. She wanted me to give this back to you. She saw your drawings, the ones you made for her. Michelle's grip on her sister's hands tightened. She wanted me to tell you something. Raymond's throat felt tight. She said she misses you too. Edith's lip trembled, but she didn't make a sound. Raymond set the box down between them. I know I messed up. I know I scared you. And I know, he paused, his voice breaking. I know I haven't been the father you needed. Not since your mom died. Silence. The girls just stared at him with those big green eyes. Janet's eyes. I was so scared after we lost her, Raymond continued, his voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know how to be here without her. I didn't know how to help you. So I ran. I worked. I convinced myself that if I could just make enough money, buy enough things, hire enough people, maybe I could fix what was broken. Stephine blinked. A single tear rolled down her cheek. But I can't fix this with money. I know that now. And I'm so sorry. Michelle's shoulders started shaking. She was crying silently, the way she'd cried for 18 months. Raymond's own eyes burned. I don't know if Miss Morin is coming back. But I do know this. I'm not leaving anymore. I'm staying here with you. Because you're more important than any deal, any building, any amount of money in the world. He reached out slowly, his hand open, waiting. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Stephine let go of her sister's hands. She crawled forward slowly, carefully, like she wasn't sure if it was safe, and she took her father's hand. Raymond's chest cracked open. He pulled her close, and she buried her face in his shoulder, still silent, but holding on. Then Edith came. Then Michelle. All three of them pressed against him, crying without sound, their small bodies shaking. Raymond wrapped his arms around them and held on like he should have been doing all along. I'm here, he whispered. I'm here now. I promise. For the first time in 18 months, Raymond Albert stayed. He didn't check his phone, didn't think about work, didn't run. He just held his daughters and let himself feel everything he'd been avoiding, the grief, the guilt, the desperate, aching love for these three little souls who deserved so much more than he'd given them. Raymond kept his promise. He cancelled his trip to Paris, pushed back meetings, told his assistant to clear his schedule for the next 2 weeks. For the first time in 18 months, he was home. He made breakfast, sat with the girls while they ate. They picked at their food silently, but they didn't leave. That felt like progress. He read to them that night, sat on the floor of their bedroom with a picture book about butterflies, Janet's favorite. The girls sat on their beds, watching him, not smiling, not speaking, but listening. When he finished, he kissed each of them goodnight. I love you, he whispered. I love you so much. They didn't say it back, but Stephine squeezed his hand just once. 3 days passed like that. Raymond stayed. He tried. He showed up for every meal, played with them in the backyard, sat with them during the quiet hours. But something was missing. The girls were there physically, but they weren't present. They moved through the house like shadows, silent, careful, like they were waiting for something. Or someone. On the 4th day, Raymond found Michelle sitting by the laundry room door. She was holding something, a small piece of fabric, one of the magenta dresses she'd been wearing the day he'd exploded. The day Morin left. Michelle pressed it to her face. Her shoulders shook. Raymond's heart broke. He knelt beside her. Michelle, baby. She didn't look at him, just kept holding that dress, crying without sound. Do you want Miss Morin to come back? Michelle nodded. Raymond felt his chest tighten. I'm trying, sweetheart. I'm trying to bring her back. Michelle finally looked up at him. Her green eyes were red, hollow. And Raymond saw it. She didn't believe him. That night, Raymond couldn't sleep. He stood in the hallway outside the girls' room, listening. At first, there was nothing, just silence. Then he heard it. Whispers. His heart stopped. He moved closer, pressing his ear to the door. Do you think she's coming back? Stephane's voice, so small. I don't know. Edith. Daddy said he's trying. Michelle. Silence. But he said that before. Stephine again. He said he'd be home more. He said lots of things. Raymond's hand gripped the doorframe. Maybe she doesn't want to come back. Edith's voice cracked. Maybe we made her too sad. We didn't make her sad. Michelle. Daddy did. The words hit like a punch to the stomach. I miss her. Stephine started crying. I miss her so much. Me too. Me too. Raymond stood there frozen, listening to his daughters cry for someone else, someone who'd loved them better than he had, someone they trusted more. He slid down the wall and sat on the floor, his head in his hands. They were talking, but not to him. They'd learned to trust Morin enough to open up, and he destroyed it so completely that even now, even when he was here trying, present, they still didn't believe in him. And maybe they were right not to. He pulled out his phone, stared at the screen. He could call anyone, fix any problem. But this couldn't be bought, couldn't be negotiated, couldn't be controlled. He'd spent his whole life building empires, winning deals, being 3 steps ahead. But he'd lost the only thing that mattered. Not because he didn't have enough money. Because he didn't have enough love, enough time, enough presence. Raymond sat there in that dark hallway listening to his daughters cry for someone else. And finally, he understood. He couldn't fix this alone. He needed Morin. Not because she was convenient, not because she was good at her job. Because his daughters needed her. And maybe, just maybe, he did too. He stood up slowly, wiped his face, and made a decision. Tomorrow, he'd go back to the West Side. And this time, he wouldn't leave until she said yes.